powers are legendary. Their origins are unknown. Their methods are extreme.
And the game is on.
LXG, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
It's week 10, guys. You know what that means? It's time for the playoff fighting!
Woohoo!
Yeah.
It is. It's just four regular season matchups left to the playoffs here. And a lot of teams still in it. There's been a lot of interesting winning streaks here. Some teams like yours who are on the downturn a little bit the last couple weeks and relinquishing first place. So a couple good matchups again this week. So.
Yeah, we have a 2 versus 3 matchup and a 4 versus 5 matchup. So not only does that mean that 2 people are going to be putting themselves on the inside track to make the playoffs, it's also going to open the door for our 7th, 8th seeds, even the 9th seed Joe right now, to get a win and to push up, not to this way pass them, because you're not going to pass me this week, but you're going to be right on my doorstep if I lose this game, or Aaron loses this game. You're going to be right on our doorsteps to take over for us. So it's big, again. Me versus Aaron, and our 4-5 matchup, Carlos versus the Slovaks, is going to be... I mean, the loser, again, the winner of that game is going to be sitting pretty. The loser, oh, man. It's going to be a long week to week 11, man. But let's jump in here. I'll get it started this week here. We'll start with the, I guess, the most uneventful matchup, I guess. Our 12 versus 13 matchup. Right now, our 12th seeded team is 3-6 Chicago Bears, coached by Crispin. And our 13th team is 2-7 High Maneuver, who's being coached by Ben. Again, there really isn't... Again, if Kristen gets the win, there's a plausible chance she can still make the playoffs at 8-6, record-wise. But going on a 4-0 win streak of her team, it's going to be pretty rough, man. But all that being said, it could happen. So let's see what the matchups are. Right now, the projected score was 69-72 favoring Ben. It is now 67-72 after Thursday night, when she got 18 from Russell Wilson, but only 3 from Thomas Rolls. The thing is, though, Ben was favored last week on the projections as well, and then ended up scoring like 40 points. So I think some of his players still have their preseason projections. Team. Like the Giants' defense, that everyone thought was going to be good this year, who are pretty much doo-doo. They're somehow living off of last year's projections, so I really don't think he's going to get 72 points. So the question is can Kristen actually get the 67 she's projected to get? That comes the big question. She has Thielen at Washington, Parker at Carolina, and Decker at Cincinnati. All those receivers are fine, but none of those matchups are good. All 3 of those games, I'll hit on 2 of them later as well. But Minnesota at Washington and Miami at Carolina, those are 2 of the games this week that I just don't think they're going to be very exciting. I think they're going to be really boring kind of games. Maybe 21, 28 final scores. And it's those kind of games where the backup tight end is going to get a touchdown.
Yeah, so close.
No one's going to have a huge day fantasy-wise. Actually, even Tennessee versus Cincinnati, I don't think that's going to be a really big game. Really, there's a lot of games this week where it's it's not that excited about in terms of who I'm plugging in my fantasy team. I think there'll be good games to watch, but when I'm sitting there looking at my score versus Fuzzy Nuts, I wouldn't be excited with any of her wide receivers this week. Though she does have the Buffalo defense at New Orleans, which is also... Buffalo's defense is great this year, but, dude, it's New Orleans, man. Breeze is not the guy to give up the points. And then she has Lamar Miller, who's going to be playing the L.A. Rams, who, the LA Rams defense doesn't scare me, but them getting blown out does. You know?
Yeah. Rams are putting up points, though.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. And then, on Ben's side, he probably won't have Des Bryant going. Again, he's still left the Giants defense in. Like, I get it. They're going to San Francisco. It sounds great. But, dude, when the defense scores -4 points, it's time to drop them. I don't know how it's even possible. Like, I saw that this week when I was doing the recap show. I was like, how is that even possible? But if your team scores, if anyone scores -4 points, they are forever dropped off your team. It has to be done. The one glimmer of hope he does have is he has Cameron Brate going to the New York Jets, and with Mike Evans suspended, he could have a big day. And then he does have the Patriots defense at Denver, which I think would be a much smarter play than the Giants. But he's a Bronco fan, and I think he just can't do it. He can't click. He just can't.
Gotta play fantasy with your brain, not your heart.
I don't think he's gonna do it though, but we'll see. So again, my pick for this game was Kristen. As though I might not be that excited about her matchups. Again, I think they're still gonna play their games. They're still gonna get 6-7 points, and I think she'll be able to piece together. Probably not the 67 she's projected for. But probably low 60s, and I think Ben. I don't have much faith in his team this week. I think it's going to be like 45, 50 some point week. But we'll see. I've been down in Ben's team all year, and he's got 2 wins, so he's proved me wrong twice before. Maybe he'll prove me wrong again. My call for this game is that the New England defense will outscore the Giants defense this week. All right, what's your first preview here, Josh?
So I got one that's pretty low overall projected matchup here. We got the Barbarians versus the Dickas. Dickas coming into the week at 5-4, and going against the Barbarians, who are sitting at the top there at 7-2. So this could be a big win for the Dickas if they could pull it off, put them firmly in the playoff race here, and take a chunk out of one of the top teams. That's who I got as my pick for this one, and really the matchup I'm looking at here is, I like his receivers this week for Dickas. Not projected for a ton of points, but I like the matchups. I like Mohamed Sanu against Detroit. I think there's a decent amount of points in that game, and Sanu I think's had touchdowns in back-to-back weeks because for whatever reason they don't like to throw it to Julio Jones in the end zone. So Sanu's a pretty good pick. I like Sterling Shepard.
They threw one of them last week, but he dropped it.
Yeah, so now we know why. Now we know why they don't throw it to him. So bad.
Julio knew. He said, "No, if I catch this, Jeremy's going to beat Joe. I can't." I have to help out the league with shorter gentlemen. I got to make it more exciting. Let me just go ahead and drop this easiest touchdown I'll ever have in my life. Just drop it.
Yeah, so I like Stingley for another touchdown this week. Sterling Shepard, I think that Giants 49ers game has a little bit of shootout potential. Neither team is really good, but both of them play at a really high pace. 49ers run some of the most plays in the league, and the Giants are in top 10 as well. So I think there's some points there, and with Marshall and Odell Beckham gone, I think Shepard gets a lot of targets there. He's scheduled for 7. I see him, I think if he gets his touchdown, he could definitely give you 10, 12 in that matchup. Also, Adam Humphries. Not super exciting, but with Mike Evans being out and Ryan Fitzpatrick slinging it down there for Tampa Bay here, Humphries, if he finds the end zone, is a big payday for you this week. Otherwise, you're looking at his usual 4 or 5 points a week. But I think that's a good sneaky play. On the other side for the Barbarians, relying on Ted Ginn and Jarvis Landry. Ted Ginn, I like him as a weekly play. He's got a good part of that offense. But The problem with the Landry matchup is that the Dickas also have Cutler going in as their quarterback. So any points that Landry is going to get, Cutler's also going to get. So I don't really see a big advantage there in that one. I think the one that swings it the most for me in this is Melvin Gordon. The guy is so inefficient. He's just, you look at his yards per carry and the amount of carries for loss he has, and it's just silly. But he gets a lot of use in the passing game. He gets 4 to 6 targets a game, and they like to throw it to him down near the goal line. So I think Gordon's the guy who swings the matchup here for Dickas. I think Dickas takes this one home and improves to 6-4 on the year.
Nice. It all sounds good. Of course, I picked the Barbarians. They somehow, every week that team somehow just wins. It's annoying because they're first place now, and Craig's like a half-assed player, man. Not in terms of his ability to play, just the amount of time he puts into playing, man. I have to set his lineup half the time, man. First I gotta remind you. I was gonna post this on Facebook, so I'll just say it now. I gotta give some really big shout outs, some love to my cousin, our newest member, Dirty Slovaks, Adam over there. Last week on Sunday, as I got the shower with my young daughter here, I got a nice message from Adam asking me, as the commissioner, to put in Craig's players who were still on his bench because he had 2 or 3 guys on a bye. This is about the time I usually do that anyway. I check Craig's team, I make sure he's got someone plugged in. Usually right 3 hours before the games, I just double check. Then I send him a message, and if I don't hear back from him in an hour, I plug people in. But it was cool. No one. I think we all want our people to have a full squad in the back of our heads, and we want it to be a quality win. But no one's ever called or texted me to make sure I did it. So I appreciate it, man. Again, Adam, he understood the gravity. He was 3rd place. I think Craig was 4th place that week. So again, a big shout out to Adam for manning up and getting a real quality win last week. And actually, he didn't get the quality win. He ended up with a loss, but yeah, that was pretty cool. And that
I think Craig's got a wide receiver on bye in his lineup, by the way.
Again, my daughter's in the shower now as I'm doing this, so after I get out the bath, then I'll be looking at that pretty soon. One thing though, to be honest, man, I've already had this dream in my head of my daughter growing up and playing fantasy football, and I'm just gonna give her Craig's team whenever she's old enough. I think in the draft review show, I talked about how if Craig doesn't get his shit together, we're gonna replace him. And I think the next day I was just dreaming me and my daughter in the same league. It'd be magical. It'd be wonderful. So yeah, it's already penciled in my head. Okay, in 8 years, she will be the Barbarians. But hey, moving on. One thing about the Tampa Bay game, you said, Humphreys. Look, I'm not going to play him over my receivers, but if you need someone, I know Carlos needs someone because all he has got a receiver on a bye. Man, Chris Godwin on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Again, I didn't watch him play in college, but I do read a lot of stuff, and he has some great. He grades out wonderfully as a wide receiver. His route running, his everything, his intangibles, his numbers, his combine numbers, everything. He was a top 4 wide receiver by many people's rankings coming out of college, but he got drafted by Tampa Bay, which didn't need a number 1 receiver. I don't even know why I don't understand why they drafted the guy, but that's beside the point. But again, if Evans out, Deshaun Jackson is Deshaun Jackson. He's not a possession receiver. Humphreys is Humphreys. He's not a quality possession receiver. He's not gonna. If you jam at the line, he's not gonna break anyone down. He's not gonna run past anybody. I think Godwin can be that guy, and I think if he's been on the 4th-string wide receiver, he's been playing most of his practice with the backup quarterback, who I believe is playing this week.
Yeah.
So Fitzpatrick and Godwin should have some playing time together in practices, should be on the same page, and Fitzpatrick should know his speed and be able to lead him and be able to throw a good ball to him. And again, it's not my call. I'm not saying it's going to happen. But if I was desperate, man, I wouldn't be picking up Crowder. I wouldn't be picking up Fuller. I'd pick up Godwin and I'd throw him in and say, fuck it, see what happens.
Hey, you've got a lot of play in that Jets Tampa Bay game, so might as well add one more. Shit.
No. I like Anderson. I don't even like Doug Martin, man. I like him. I don't like him right now. Okay, but that's a whole different story. All right, my next matchup. We're gonna go ahead and hop over to the Joski versus Yay Boys in Spandex. This is going to be our 9th seeded 4-5 Joski team versus the 2-7 14th seeded Yay Boys in Spandex. You know, on one end of the spectrum, you know, for Tree, this game doesn't mean much in terms of, you know, the end game. She's 2-7. The end game's already there. You know, right now she just gets to play spoiler, and this is actually a really good chance to play spoiler, because if you beat Joe, who's at 4-5, again 4-6, man, you know. 8-6 team might make it, but trying to get 4 wins in a row at the end of the year is not going to be easy. So Joe, especially in this matchup where he's favored, again, and it's Tree, it's A-Boys and Spandex. This is, you know, they got 1 win last year, 2 wins so far this year. This would be a really big upset if she can get the win. And if Joe loses this game, this could be a death sentence for his season as well. That being said, Detroit Lions are playing the Cleveland Browns this week. And, I mean, I could end it right there. That's all you have to know.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Joe's playing this Cleveland Browns pretty much. That's a good thing. You know, and it's that Cleveland Browns, man, they had one good cornerback. He's out. You know, they have a good run defense, but he left Amir Abdullah on the bench, and he's got 2 other running backs who I think are better anyway, plugged in with Bilal Powell and Jerick McKinnon.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. For his preview, that's it, man. Detroit versus Cleveland. What else you got to say, man? You know, she's got Carlos Hyde versus New York Giants. Who, again, that defense is not last year's defense. I think Carlos Hyde will do just fine. He'll get 10, 11 points. Be good enough. The big thing right now as it sits is it's her 3 underachievers, man. Marcus Mariota, Martavis Bryant, Isaiah Crowell.
Yeah.
Again, I almost threw up, man. Like right now, those 3 guys, they're toxic, man. You know, I mean, even Mariota, like yeah, he's like a mid-range cornerback, but he was supposed to be like top 10, man. Isaiah Crowe was supposed to be top 10. Martavis Bryant was supposed to be like the elite wide receiver 2. And you know what they are right now? They're hot garbage, man. There's a reason why they were projected to do that. They have talent. They have the avenue to do this. You know, Isaiah Crowe is a starting running back. He still is a starting running back. Marcus Mariota is still a mobile quarterback. He is still very accurate in the red zone. Martavis Bryant is still fast. So, that being said, I don't think it's going to happen. But if this is the week that all 3 of those guys finally show up and prove why they were so highly touted in the preseason, this could be a game. Even with Detroit versus Cleveland, this can still be a game. Yeah. You know, but we'll see what happens. My call for this game, let's see if you agree with this one. Marcus Mariota and Matthew Stafford are both projected for 17 points. It's easy to say, yeah, Matthew Stafford's going to beat that. Because every quarterback that's played Cleveland has beat that score. But that's not the name of the game, man. These are calls. They're supposed to have some guts here. So I'm going to say both the quarterbacks, Mariota and Stafford, will beat their projected score of 17 points. What do you think?
Both of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't really. It's hard for me to trust Mariota. And while like the spot looks good, right? The spot looks good for Detroit and Matt Stafford. But he always lets you down when you need him the most, you know? It's just like, it's true, like, Matt Stafford, Detroit Lions football. Although I think that's a good call. I like Stafford to go over 17. I think for Mariota, it's going to take him getting one. He's going to have to run one into the end zone, I think, if he's going to beat his projection there. I'm surprised he's projected that high, as a matter of fact.
Well, I kind of think it might happen this week for him. Again, his hammy's been getting healed up. And again, Cincinnati's defense, it's, their pass defense is actually pretty decent. But again, that's never that's not really the defining factor when you project Marcus Mariota, because he'll run the ball. He is a pocket passer. He's not Cam Newton, where Cam Newton is just going to pass. Cam Newton will run. Mariota will fall back, read, and then run. He will try to pass first, and honestly try to pass. Like Newton will fall back, like just stand like this, whoop, and then run. Not really read. Maybe look at one receiver. No, I don't think he looks. I think he's just I think he knows before he hikes the ball. I'm gonna run this motherfucker. Yeah. Like he knows. He's looking like he's freaking Cam Newton, man. Go for it. But Mariota will try to pass the ball, and in that time when he's in the pocket and the safeties are falling back, cornerbacks are falling back, that's going to give him those run lanes to get out there. And I think it might happen for him this week. We'll see what happens. What's your next one, Josh?
So you were talking about Martavis Bryant in that last matchup there, and the guy's kind of taking his place this year is Juju. One of my favorite names in the league for sure this year, but has also been one of my favorite players. Juju Smith-Schuster, the emerging number 2 wideout for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and also happens to be on Adama's team. So we got Adama's Llamas sitting at 5-4, taking a tough loss last week to yours truly, and he's going up against the 3-6 Kneecaps. So I got the Llamas winning this one. Projections for 82-67 after the Thursday game. Llamas got 9 out of Baldwin there, while on the other side, Kneecaps only got a nasty 1 point out of Adrian Peterson in the Thursday night matchup. So expecting bigger things out of him. But this one you never really know, because Llamas are missing some key parts again this week. Last week he didn't have Ertz because of a late scratch because of an injury, and this week Ertz is on a bye, so he doesn't have him again. He's got Mike Evans, who's we all know suspended this week, so there's another big hitter on his bench, and also Kareem Hunt on a bye this week. So that's a pretty substantial share of points sitting on Llama's bench. But I think he still gets it done. Like I said, he's got Smith-Schuster. The Steelers are going up against Indy, and they're nothing to write home about. So I like Schuster to outscore his projection at 7 points there. Also, probably one of my, I would say, top 3 favorite running backs on the week is LaShawn McCoy going up against the Saints. The place you can really hit that Saints defense is on the run. I think they want to try and keep the ball out of Drew Brees' hands, and let's be honest, it doesn't matter who they're playing. LaShawn McCoy is that whole offense. It's Tyrod Taylor and LaShawn McCoy. One of the two is going to be running it. One of them is going to be passing it. The other one's going to be catching it. We'll see. We'll see how much they try to get Calvin Benjamin involved, but I like McCoy. He's got 15 projected. I think he could go big. He could go big above that. And you could probably see, you might see, if he gets into the end zone twice, you're talking 25 points out of LaShawn McCoy this week. Running backs are trouble for Kneecaps this week. As I mentioned, he's got Adrian Peterson, only got 1 point, and he's starting Tariq Cohen in the other spot. And while he was pretty electric in week 1, really hasn't done a whole lot fantasy-wise since then. So pretty risky move for Kneecaps. Also, I think Llama's got the advantage in the wide receiver department. So you're looking at Curse for the Jets. Here we go with the Jets in Tampa Bay again. Tampa Bay has one of the worst pass defenses, and somehow Josh McCown and the Jets score points through the air. It's been mostly Robbie Anderson, but Curse gets in there every once in a while. And, Kneecaps taking some big gambles again with Marquise Lee and Jordan Matthews in that receiving core. they're just as likely to get you 0 as they are to get you a touchdown. So I got the Llamas taking this one down, moving to 6-4 on the year, and pretty much ending it for Kneecaps, moving him to 3-7 on the season. And if I'm going to go big call here, I'm going to say Juju Smith-Schuster will be a top 10 fantasy wideout this week. I think he goes for 15-plus points.
Interesting call. I'm not buying it. I don't. Yeah, I'm just not buying it. I know it's Indianapolis, man. I know, and I'm hitting this in a little bit. I know it's Indianapolis, but it's still on the road. Dude, Ben Roethlisberger on the road is toxic. I don't understand why, but it is just the way it is. And in order for him to get 15 points, he's going to have either 2 touchdown catches or 1 really long touchdown catch. Because I don't think they're going to have to. They're not going to have to throw for 400 yards. They're not going to have to do it. They're going to be up. They're going to be up early. And they're just going to take the foot off the gas and just let Le'Veon Bell run the ball.
Trust in the juju. Trust in the juju.
I don't know, man. But yeah, in that game, I actually picked the Neal. And, it really, I make these picks really early in the week just to make sure I get them in sometimes. And this week was one of those weeks because I've had a really... Again, I don't know if you've seen the recap show, but I was in my shower room, so, I had a really weird week, it's all right, but it's been a long week. It's been a weird one. And I made these picks, I think, pretty much on Tuesday. My Tuesday, which is right after the Monday Night Football game, for crying out loud. Right when the week switched over, right when that happened, I was like, okay, click, 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 click. And I think, I picked Neal's Kneecaps, and I think it's mostly just because, again, last week, his team went off. And I think a lot of the players that we're thinking aren't that good because they kind of sucked all year are maybe turning the corner. And I think that just the twists of fate that are out there in the world, they want to keep pushing Neal forward, just to make it a little more interesting in our league, just to keep that one 2-6 team around, that 3-5 team around, just keep them going. You should be laughing, man. That's you. You're part of this story too, Mr. 0-4.
I'm ready to go. That's just a slow starter. I'm not a front runner. Yeah.
You're getting there.
I'm what they call a finisher.
What is it? The Derby Owners Club. What is it? Last spurt.
Yeah.
Last spurt. There you go.
Yeah.
No. All right, guys. My next matchup is going to be our 4-5, 10th seeded Excuses Start Soon, coached by Matt, and our 8th seeded 4-1, riding hot on a 4-game win streak, Chi-Town beatdown.
On a heater.
Original projections were 71-79, favoring Chi-Town beatdown. They are currently 71-81 after the Thursday night football game, after Josh got 9 points from his Thursday night football. So here's the thing: the 2 biggest games in real life that are going to affect this matchup are the New Orleans versus Buffalo matchup we've been talking about, and the Carolina versus Miami matchup we've been talking about. And the thing is, again, I'm not excited. I mean, if I could watch them, if I didn't have to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch a football game, I'd love watching these games. I'd go. I actually, at this point, I'd probably watch them over my Packer game because the Packer game is going to be horrible to watch because they're both going to suck. I mean, I still watch it because I'm a Homer Packer fan. But anyway, that game, again, New Orleans, that defense is hugely different than you think it is. It's a good defense. That Buffalo defense is a good defense. These are both good teams, but neither one of them, this year at least, is an offensive juggernaut. They both like to run the clock. They both like to run their offense at not necessarily a slow pace, but they run the ball so much it keeps the clock running. They're not throwing deep passes every other down. There's not many clock stoppages. That clock is always running. And their offenses are both efficient. They get first downs. Again, the clock's going to keep running and running and running, and I just don't see. Again, they're going to have some points. Again, I think Mark Ingram is going to have a good day. I think LaShawn McCoy is going to have a good day because that kind of a game flow is good for the starting running back. But the rest of the ensemble, I think are going to have just average days. I think both quarterbacks, Drew Brees, 15, 16 points. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. But that's not what you want from Drew Brees. You want 24 points, man. It's week 10.
That's what Brees has been all year, though.
Yeah, I know. Again, it's that team this year, and the same thing with Buffalo. Again, even Tyrod Taylor, who's not in this matchup, but again, it's the same thing. He'll have a good enough day, probably score 18 points because he's going to run for like 50 yards. But I don't see he's not going to put up 24 points this week. It's just not going to happen. These two defenses, again, because their offenses are good enough to keep them fresh, these defenses have played really good this year. Again, and then on your squad, again, you have Newton. Again, I know people think Miami's a joke. They think they're horrible. Hey, it's South Beach, vacation time. But that defense has some players, man. That defense is decent. And the Dolphins are like, I think they're 5-4 in real life. They're not like a horrible team. You think they are because it's got Smokin' Jay Cutler and it's the big joke. But that defense and that team is not horrible. They'll keep it a game. And the Panthers, this is not the Super Bowl players from 2 years ago. This is this year's Carolina Panthers. And they have not been that good. They've winning games, but they've been close. They've been dogfights. And they've been relatively low scoring. So again, I don't think either one of these games is going to be low scoring. So I think this matchup, you and Matt, it's going to be really close, man. I don't see either one of you guys run away with it. I think it's going to be a 5-6 point game. I did pick you to win it because I do like the fact that, again, Mark Ingram's going to have a good game. And Michael Thomas, not going to have a great game, but he always gets 6 catches. He'll probably get 70 yards. And if you get 7 points from your wide receiver at this point of the year, all right, you're going to take it.
Yeah, right. Jesus.
And then on the flip side, he has Gore and Stewart going. And again, I don't see either one of those doing much of anything at his running back position. The one thing he does have that is a little bit scary is Hopkins.
Yeah.
Like I know that they have the backup quarterback in now. It's not as dangerous as it was, when they had Deshaun Watson. But last week he got 16 targets, man. 16 targets. And if Hopkins gets in the end zone once, maybe twice, it could be a really nice day for him.
Yeah, I'm worried. That's a position I'm worried about. Because the Rams score a ton of points this year, and so Houston's going to throw the ball. And Hopkins, I think Hopkins still is quarterback proof. I think Fuller takes the big hit there. So I'm hoping Hopkins. I tried to get a trade in for Hopkins earlier, but nothing doing yet. So
yeah, dude, he's the one piece. He's the one piece of that Houston offense that I will still play. My call for this week is that Alfred Morris, who is currently on Matt's bench, I don't understand. Like, I get it. Your mind tells you Jonathan Stewart, Frank Gore, starting running backs for their teams. Alfred Morris, what is he? What is he going to do? You don't know. Dude, it's week 10. You got to roll the goddamn dice, man. You're plugging Alfred Morris. He's going to start. He might only play 3 downs, and Darren McFadden might take over. Who knows? But you got to roll the dice. You're talking about the starting running back for sure. Maybe not the whole game, but he's going to get the first crack at it of one of the best offenses in the NFL right now. Yeah, you got to plug him in, man. And my call is I have faith. I think Alfred Morris, my call for this game is that Alfred Morris will be in the top 2 running back scores in this matchup.
So since you just previewed my matchup, I'll go ahead and preview yours. One of the more interesting ones on the week, you versus OG Billy Witch Doctor versus the Nuzzy Futz. OG sitting at 7-2, and Nuzzy Futz looking at 6-3, looking to pull even with the Witch Doctor here after this matchup. So opposing Rams players in this one. So who gets the points? We got Jared Goff going for you, Jeremy. Todd Gurley on the other side for Nuzzy Futz. Both of them are projected for 17 at this point. That offense has plenty of points to go around at this point. So you could see that one definitely wash out. Nuzzy Futz also going with Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard, I think, is a really good play this week going up against Packers. Also, there's no real other offensive options for the Bears at this point. They don't have any receivers to throw it to. I don't know if you're staying up on the Chicago weather reports over there in Japan, but it's supposed to be a really nasty, sloppy day tomorrow. It's already started. Yeah, it's already started to sleet here. It's supposed to do that for most of the day, probably rain during the game. So I think it's a heavy running back type of day for the Packers and the Bears.
Works for me, man.
What else you got?
Don't forget, dude. Don't forget. That works for me. That means if it's a nasty day, that's an Aaron Jones day. I'm hoping that's not Ty Montgomery day. I'm just wishing. I'm like, wishing on a star. Come on, Aaron Jones, just do something for him.
You got Robbie Anderson. It's a good play. It's been good for the Jets.
I feel great about Robbie Anderson, man.
Yeah, Austin Seferian-Jenkins on the tight end spot.
I feel okay about it.
And Doug Martin. So you're hoping for a shootout there. You want a lot of points in that game. I don't think the projected total goes over 42 or 44 as far as the Vegas line is concerned, so not super hopeful. But, if they do end up scoring a lot of points there, that's going to be good for you.
I think, you're talking about Fitzpatrick and Josh McCown, like the two wandering souls of the NFL,
Yeah,
but
sure.
have they ever actually played each other?
I don't know if they have.
I don't think they ever have. I thought of this the other day when I was setting my lineup. I was like, somehow in my brain had this the magical moment of the two wandering souls of the NFL coming together. And it's like the two loose ions of a nuclear blast. Just boom! And there's an explosion points.
One can hope, I guess.
The things I go in my brain to give me hope to win games. It's amazing. I am optimist. I am.
Yeah, you need it. You need it with all those Jets and Tampa players on your team. You definitely need it. Your team's skewed heavily towards that one. Nuzzy Futz is skewed, with the Bears. He's got Jordan Howard going. He's also got the Bears defense, which is one of my top plays of the week. If you watched the Packer under Brett Hundley on last Sunday, not real inspiring. It reminds me a lot of the Mike Glennon Bears. So I like the Chicago D and some slot weather. Also, you got Julio Jones, never goes past his projection. He's projected 12, he'll get you 6, and ta-da! I got Nuzzy Futz in this. I got it. I'm sorry, Jeremy, but I think you guys pull even. Both go to 7-3 on the season, tied for second place after the Barbarians take down Dickus. So I'm going to go with one of the Rams players here. And although the Nuzzy, I think, is going to get the win, I think Jared Goff outscores Todd Gurley. Both projected for 7. I like Goff in this one.
Yeah, me too. And the Houston run defense is not bad. They're actually pretty good. They're kind of like the one I will say about this. I said it a couple weeks ago. I forgot he played some defense. Oh, the Saints. He played the Saints defense against the Packers. Against his own team. Man, I said it in the preview show. I said, man, that's bad mojo. It's bad karma, man. And he lost the game. He had a projected easy win that week. But he went. And again, I'm hoping maybe it's going to happen again. Because that is some bad mojo. And, the Hundley Packers, they are bad. I've watched those games. They're bad. But you look at the scores. The Saints defense did not score that many points against them. Last week, the defense, they played, who did they play last week?
And the Monday Nighter against...
the Lions, yeah. Detroit Lions defense, again, they didn't have a phenomenal game against them. Actually, because the
Packers don't throw the ball forward anymore.
Hey, but we're talking about fantasy football. We're talking about defense play.
Yeah.
Because if you play the game, it's okay, but not a play. That's not like a game changer. 5 or 6 points is like an average score. And that's really all the Green Bay Packers offense has been given. Like, you see a good matchup. Everyone on every new prognosticator, oh yeah, play defense versus the Packers. This has been 3 weeks now of Hundley, and none of those weeks has he thrown 2 picks. Has he given up a fumble? Like, he's not a good quarterback, but in terms of like giving up points to defense, like Blake Bortles last year gave up points to defense. He's like, oh, you want some points? Here you go. Here's 2 points. Here's 2 points. You want to sack me? Come on. Hundley doesn't do that. Hundley does not get sacked that much. There's not a lot of picks. I don't think Barry fits high throw time. That think of 5, which is a change. I'm just worried about Howard, man.
Yeah.
Like, when I go to bed tonight before the game start, the match 4-5 games. All right, guys, we had some technical difficulties, and I have to re-record our last preview, which is our maybe. This really is the most important matchup so far of the week. It's the 4th versus 5 seed. Dirty Slovaks in 4th place right now at 5-3-1, taking on Carlos's squad at 5-4. Again, the winner of this game will have a chance to jump over me or Tex, depending on what happens in our game. And the loser will fall back down and will have be really, really deep in the thick of things. We'll have to fight and claw with the rest of y'all to get in the playoffs coming in the year. This game really, really boils down to Pittsburgh versus Indianapolis. And the one problem is they're on the road, where we all know Big Ben isn't so big. That being said, he still has Le'Veon Bell at Indianapolis, and he has Pittsburgh's defense at Indianapolis, which should both be really nice plays, which are the main reason I picked him to win this game over Carlos. But I do not like his wide receivers. He's got Josh Doctson, Devontae Adams, and Daniel Mendola. Now, those 3 names don't make you a little bit in your throat here. Let me tell you their matchups. Versus Minnesota, at Chicago, at Denver. Yeah, it's a pretty rough week for his wide receivers. He's got C.J. Anderson going versus the New England Patriots. Also, not a very good matchup. But he also has Gronkowski at Denver, which is a great matchup. Well, actually, Gronkowski anywhere is a great matchup. So I think those 4, the 3 Pittsburgh Steelers and Gronkowski, we're going to be enough to get him the win over Carlos. We still needs to get a kicker swapped in there and pick up a wide receiver to plug in as well. But Carlos does have Leonard Fournette, the Jacksonville defense, and Dak Prescott going. It doesn't matter who they're playing. Those are 3 rock-solid starters who are pretty much matchup-proof. So this should be a good game for all of them, and they'll keep him close. But he doesn't have much else to go. He has the wild card in Dion Lewis, who's going to be playing Denver as well. And, who knows what's going to happen there. But Dion Lewis, if he gets a good game, could make this interesting. And depending on who he picks up as wide receiver spot, maybe he'll get lucky, find a diamond in the rough. My call for this game is that Carlos's big 3 of Fournette, Jacksonville defense, and Dak Prescott will outscore Adams' big 3, Le'Veon Bell, Ben Roethlisberger, and the Pittsburgh defense at Indianapolis. Alright guys, that's going to do it for the Pick'em Show. Good luck this week. See you on the flip side.